And the best part about this space is the fluffy toilet seat cover.
Nope.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Luke and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about my wife and I buying our very first investment property. Now, I'm going to show you some photos and walk you through the property virtually so you can check it out and see what we're up for. But you might be thinking, why buy a property during a global crisis or a global virus? And that's because my wife and I are taking a long-term outlook and we're planning on holding the property for at least 10 to 15, even 20 years. And so I'm starting this YouTube channel, or continuing this YouTube channel, to document and record our progress as we renovate the property, and to show you tips and tricks and just what it involves in getting your hands on in a property. Now, people always used to ask me, before we bought our very first home, which is our principal place of residence here, people always used to ask me, oh, are you handy? Are you a tradie? I'm actually an accountant in my day job. But what I used to say to them is, how do I know if I'm any good without having something to work on? So we've just bought our second property, which is this investment. It's a little Queenslander, about 8 to 10 kilometers north of the Brisbane CBD. And it's on a 607 square meter block. It's quite cute. It's white on the outside with weatherboard, and it's bright pink all through the inside. So I'm going to show you all that today. But before we get into that, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about me and a little bit more about what I'm going to try and do on this channel to document this process and take you guys along for the ride. So a little bit about me. My name's Luke. I'm 25 years old and my wife Emily is 24. I'm a chartered accountant in my day job, so very different from being a tradie and renovating and DIYing, but that's what I like to do on the weekend. At the moment, we live in our own home, which we have been renovating slowly over the last year and a half, and we've just been lucky enough to buy our first investment property during this craziness that's been the last few months. And you might be asking, why would you do that? Now, it seems like a terrible time. Some people are forecasting a 40% drop or 20% drop in property prices over the next 6 to 12 months in Australia. Now, my wife and I aren't worried about that. What Emily and I are trying to do is buy and hold properties for the long term, and then to renovate and then refinance and reinvest that money and keep the process going over and over again. Because we both have a passion for property investing. I might have a little bit more of a love for it than my wife, and getting on the tools and painting and sanding things down, but she's more than helpful. And we just wanted to document this process and take you guys along with us by videoing and showing you a day-to-day of looking at how to invest, on doing the numbers, and then also doing the DIY and the hands-on stuff as well. So we haven't come up with a name for the property yet. We're thinking about calling it the Baby Queenslander, but leave a comment down below. We're going to walk you through and show you some photos of the place. So now a little bit about this property that we're buying. We've actually been looking to buy property for the last 3 to 6 months in Brisbane. We've lived in Brisbane our whole lives, and there's lots of infrastructure projects and things going on. So railways and developments in the city for parklands and theatres and social hubs. And the biggest one is the Queen's Wharf development in the city. So there's lots of big developments going on in Brisbane, and we think it's a great opportunity to buy and hold for the long term. So we were looking on the north side of Brisbane to buy. We actually both grew up on the south side, but have converted to buying on the north side for an investment opportunity. And we were looking to buy anywhere between 5 to 15 kilometres from the Brisbane CBD. So my wife and I inspected the first property that we were very serious on, and it was a 3-bedroom brick home, about 12 to 13 kilometres north of the city. And the week in Australia that they shut down auctions, Emily and I missed out on going to auction on this place, and they took it into private treaty, which means that we had to submit an offer and see what happens from there in terms of bargaining or negotiating for the property. Basically, our offer wasn't high enough on that first property, and we went to what we're calling the Baby Queenslander. Given the virus situation, it was a different kind of inspection, so we had to wait in our car and sit outside the front of the property. But yeah, we waited our turn and had a look through. And this property is really cute. It's got solid little bones. It's got hardwood floors throughout, and potentially some asbestos in the kitchen and the bathrooms, but we were willing to renovate and work through those issues. So we were lucky enough to put an offer in that same day. And after some back and forth with the agent and the owners, we were able to secure the property. So it was pretty exciting. So it's a little two-bedroom cottage or post-war home with 2 bathrooms, although you could almost say that the second bathroom doesn't count when I show you that in today's video. And yeah, it sits on 607 square meters of land, which is a good sized block. Yeah, the property's about 10 to 12 kilometers north of the Brisbane CBD, so that's the standard size. And it's walking distance to local schools and shops, which is awesome for us. So yeah, our plan is to turn this renovator's delight into a beautiful new little home for someone else to rent. Yeah, I'm going to show you guys on the computer some photos, and we can walk through, and I'll give you my thoughts on the property and then what we plan to do in the next coming weeks as we get the keys in 3 weeks from now. So let's take a look. Here she is, the big reveal. She is a pretty classic Queenslander, as they would say. So it's called a high-set weatherboard home. So she's up off the ground a little bit, but you can see on the left-hand side here, there's a tiny garage, and our car is quite small. We've got a little Holden Marina, and we'd be lucky to fit that car in there. So long term, we might have to add a carport to the property, but the outside's quite nice. So it's that white weatherboard. It's got a red tin roof. It's not full-blown ColourBond. I think it's a bit older than that. And yeah, it's cute. It's got the bush either side and a door right down the middle, which is kind of cool, and a little deck on the front with the stairs coming down. So our first impressions of the property were great by looking online, but you'll come to see where the work is. So let's move inside. And this is the kitchen. So we're just looking into the kitchen from the main entry, or from the living room at the moment. And you can see it's got an old gas burner stove in the corner there. Access out to the back, out of that back door. It's got that old kitchen sink where it's a bit deeper, it's inset, and it almost looks like a full-blown wet area, which is not very common these days. Usually you want a clean benchtop with the sink cut out in the middle. So we're probably going to look to change that as well. And you can see it's got this lovely built-in old-school shelving. So we're thinking about pulling the glass out of the frame and turning that into some open shelving down the track. And yeah, it's very pink. I know, very, very pink. So we're going to look to change that. We're going to add some white and some light greys, just the classic colours, and see if we can brighten it up and definitely change those curtains. I think they've seen better days. So let's take a look at the other side. So now we're looking from the back door back through the kitchen into the living space. And you can see those handles are like, they're on a weird angle. And it's not just on one drawer, it's on all the drawers. So here, they're all, even on the hanging cupboards, they seem to be on a bit of an angle, which is very unusual. Of all the properties we've ever looked at online or inspected, we've never seen any property with angled handles like that. But yes, you can see we've got some orangey, pinky cupboards with a cream old bench top. And I believe I was chatting to a mate who's an electrician, and you see this little clock up here? That's a wired-in clock. He said that they're so rare to see a clock that's been hardwired, so it's not battery powered, which is pretty cool, I guess, but we'll probably get rid of it anyway, because I think it's quite old, and to keep it, even if we renovate everything else, it'd be a little bit outdated. So this is the living room, and you can see the lovely linoleum or vinyl floor here in that tile pattern. That's actually not anchored down, so when we walk through the property, Emily and I noticed that you could pull it up in most of the rooms, and beneath that is chipboard or like protective plywood, and then below that, which I'll show you soon, is the hardwood floors, which we're planning on sanding and staining and coating ourselves. So that we're going to hire the equipment and DIY that ourselves. But yeah, you can see that there's some old light fixtures which don't have any coverings, and again pink walls throughout, and the doorway, the entryway off to the left at the front. This is just the reverse view of that living space, so it's not huge but it's not tiny as well. Pretty common for that post-war 2-bedroom home. So yeah, this is the second bedroom, so it's got a massive built-in cupboard with kind of a dresser space where the girls can, you know, leave their perfumes and makeup and that sort of thing. So it's all pink at the moment, but we're gonna probably paint the cupboards white with some cupboard paint, grey on the walls, white for the ceiling, and redo the floors in there. And that light fixture needs some changing too. So there's a bit of work to be done in this second bedroom, but with some elbow grease and some hard work, we'll probably be able to fix that up and maybe turn that dresser space into a desk, or just lower it so you could sit at it and remove those battens in the middle, which will block you putting a chair under there. Now this is the master bedroom. It doesn't have any cupboards, so there's no storage in there. It barely has any lights. It doesn't have much ventilation, so you can see there's this one little ball light, and it's coming out of the side of the wall. So someone's either DIY'd that. It seems really dodgy, and at least it's got a working smoke alarm, which is wired in, which is good. But yeah, I think this room will need new cupboards and lights and fans and things like that to brighten it up and make it into a proper master bedroom. And that's the other angle. Oh, before I move on, you can see the cornicing as well. It's hard to tell in the photos, but the cornicing is beautiful in the master bedroom and the living room. It's that old school rope style cornicing. So we're going to try and keep all that intact when we're renovating the house. Yeah, I know. It's not great. It's not great. So this is the bathroom. This is the main bathroom in the house. Now the second bathroom is actually out back. It's kind of an outhouse. It's not really an outhouse. It's still attached to the house, but it's outside to get to it. So yeah, this is the master, and it needs a lot of work. We think it's like a masonite or asbestos board in there, but we'll get that tested when we're inside and we're working on the place, just to make sure we're safe. You can see it's got handlebars, so you can hold on real tight when you're having a bath. It actually doesn't have a shower head, and we're gonna have to install a shower head, probably tile the floors, do new bench tops, add mirrors. There's a lot of work in this room, but you can see there's something there, so we're preparing big for that one, which is cool. We know what we're getting into, but yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
This is actually the sunroom, or the study space, off the front of the property. You can access this room just off the main kitchen and living area, and it's the front of the property with all the windows. So this would be a lovely space to set up some desks on the back wall, or have it as a nursery. And there's not much to do here, which is good. It's just the light, the walls, the floors, also everything, but yeah. But because it's so small, it doesn't seem as big as an issue as some of the other rooms. Now this is the backyard. The house has that red tin roof, as I mentioned earlier in the video. It looks kind of pink because of the lighting, but it's actually white on the exterior, which looks a lot better in person than it does in this photo. So it's got a patio with some brick, I don't know, what are these? Brick walls, I guess, with no roof. So we'll probably just leave that. It wouldn't be worth us removing, and we're planning on doing about a 6-week renovation. So subscribe, because we're gonna document that on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, maybe down the track we'll knock it down when we look to extend the house or do something else with the space. This is scary. It seems scary. It looks worse in the photos than it did in real life. And when Emily and I were walking through, I showed one of my mates these photos when we were looking at purchasing, and ended up getting the property under contract. And he said this was like a killer's room, a dungeon, a nightmare. It's not pretty. So it especially looks bad because they've painted the concrete basin. But what can you do? So this is the laundry with a bit of storage. It's all masonite board battened together. And yeah, we just want to tidy this area up. This is the second bathroom. You could barely call it that. It's got a shower and a toilet. I don't know where the sink is. I don't recall when we walked through seeing where the sink was, but yeah, it's got this lovely feature wall here, a dark blue and pink shower with an old shower head. And the best part about this space is the fluffy toilet seat cover.
Nope.
Looks like, I don't know how long that has been there, but it looks like it's been there for since the property was built, probably about 50, 60 years ago.
Disgusting!
So that all of that's probably going to go. It needs a full refresh, but yeah, at least a paint job, and remove the fluffy toilet seat, please. So this is just a quick view under the house. So wood floors, solid foundation, thumbs up. Wood floors, solid foundation, thumbs up. And the big backyard. So it's also got a shed, but you can't actually drive up the side of the house. So I don't know what we're going to do with the shed. We'll probably just leave it and then worry about what to do with it down the track. But it's solid. It looks solid. It's got a concrete slab. You can store your garden tools, I guess, and Christmas decorations. So bling. Looks pretty new. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this little virtual photo follow along of our first investment property. If you could like and subscribe to my channel, that'd be great. If you want to follow us on this property journey, that'd be awesome. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.